Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Jenny. I'm from Gina K Designs. My YouTube channel contains content that is intended to share paper crafting, tutorials, and inspiration with all of you. I hope that you enjoy. In today's video, I'm going to be using a Gina K Designs stamp set. This stamp set was designed by Melanie Muenchinger, and it's really beautiful. It's called the Embroidered Flowers stamp set. The images are designed to look like embroidery. This is so fun and can create such lovely designs in your projects. So today I've designed a little mini purse that you can use for a gift bag or just to create them for fun. Because I have such an obsession with paper crafting supplies, I have more than I need. So sometimes I like to come up with fun designs that can be used for things other than cards. So I hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you have any questions in regards to the measurements or how to put this project together, please feel free to leave them in the comments below, or you can touch base with me on my social media links listed on screen here. So let's get into this project. So here's the purse that we'll be making today. This is my sample project. What we'll be making will be just a tad different in color and style, but otherwise the same design. So we've got this cute little purse, and it's got the embroidered flowers all over it, and it's got a little tiny magnet for a closure, and it opens up and you could put things inside. You could put cards inside of it, you could put gifts inside of it, and it's nice and sturdy, and it's got a cute little handle on it. Here's the stamp set that we'll be using with the coordinating dies. And so here are the measurements for this project. You're going to need two 8.5 by 11 sheets of cardstock, and I've got everything labeled here A, B, C, and D. So for piece A, you're going to need a sheet that is 5.5 by 11 inches. And for sheet B, you will need two pieces that are 4 by 5 inches. And for C, you'll need 5.25 by 2.25 inches. And for D, you'll need 3/4 inches by 11 inches. So now let's cut up some cardstock to show you the pieces that we need. Now, taking my two sheets of cardstock, we'll take the first piece and get it loaded up into the cutter, and we'll start with A, and we're going to cut that at 5.5 inches. So the leftover piece from this sheet we'll use for the next two pieces for piece C and D. So the first one we'll cut is D, and that's going to be 3/4 inch by 11 inches. And then the next piece we'll cut is C, and that one is already 2.25 inches, since that's what's left out of our piece of paper, and then we'll just cut that at 5.25. The leftover piece from this we'll use for stamping later on in this video. So we'll just set that aside and we'll use that later. And we'll pull out the second sheet of cardstock to cut panels B. So these are measured 4 by 5. So we'll cut this sheet of cardstock at 5 inches by 8.5 inches, and then we'll turn it. The piece that's left over, we won't use this. You can save that for another project. So we'll turn this piece of cardstock and cut at 4 inches. And we'll do that twice. These are going to be our side flaps for our purse. Now once we have everything cut out, we'll move into the score marks on these pieces. Okay, for piece A, at the 5.5 by 11 inches, we're going to turn it to the 11-inch side and line it up into our scoreboard. And we're going to score at 4 and 5.5 and 7. So I'm just going to take my little pen here on my sample piece and just put the little ticks in at 4, 5.5, and 7. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and score our pink piece now. So at 4, 5.5, and 7. And then we'll set this piece aside and go to B. Now B, we're going to score this at 1/2 inch, 2 inches, and 3.5 inches. So I'll line up my cardstock into my piece. On the 4-inch side, we'll mark 1/2 inch, 2 inches, and 3.5 inches. And then we're going to turn our cardstock and mark at 4 inches. So we'll go ahead and make the score marks in our B panel at 1/2 inch, 2 inches, and 3.5 inches, and then we'll turn and score at 4 inches. So we'll do this twice and we'll get 2 of the exact same panel. Okay, and for C, you're going to score at 1/2 inch and 1.5 inches. So we'll just get that marked up at 1/2 inch and 1.5 inches and score our cardstock 1/2 inch and 1.5 inches. Next, we're going to round the corners on this piece. So you're going to round the corners on the larger part of the piece where the score marks are. You'll see what I mean when you start making it yourself. Let's stamp our embroidery. I've got a red rubber background stamp. Now this is the Rose Lace background stamp by Gina K Designs. I'm going to ink this up with some Dusty Rose ink and put my panel down and just get all inked up with that beautiful lace rose pattern. And I will stamp all of my pieces, my B, C, and D pieces. And now my A piece I'm going to use with the embroidered flowers. Now I just have a piece of craft foam here, and we'll use that for stamping to make sure that we get a nice impression. I'm loading up my first stamp on my comfort block. These blocks are great for stamping, have a nice rounded edge. So I'm going to stamp my first image, and then I'm going to flip my cardstock over and kind of repeat my pattern so that I get the same sort of look on both sides. And then I'll just kind of fill in as I go along, switching out to different color inks and some leaves and other flowers, and just one by one filling in my pattern and repeating on the other side, and using all the different stamps in the stamp set and some different inks and just filling in my pattern. So here is our finished pattern. This took me quite a little bit of time. Next, we'll take that scrap of cardstock that we have and stamp a bunch of flowers and leaves that we're going to pop up on our purse in the end. So I'll use the coordinating dies for these and get them cut out. And here are all the elements to our purse. And we're going to get ready to assemble our fancy purse. So I'm going to use my bone folder to score the creases on panel A. What you want basically is sort of a W. So it's mountain and valleys. So once that's done, we're just going to set that aside, and then we'll go to the handle. I'm going to add a strong adhesive tape on the inside of the handle, just on the edges, where we're going to secure that to the top of the purse. And I'll just use my bone folder to curl the handle a little bit so it's rounded. So we'll set that aside. We'll go to the B panels, and I'm just going to snip off this little bottom corner here, just following the score marks on both sides of the bottom of that panel. And then in the center, I'm going to sort of make a little bit of an angle cut there. So I follow the score mark, but I just put my scissors on a little bit of an angle just to help with the bulk of that cardstock. When it's folded up, it makes it fold easier. And then we'll fold down the score marks on the side and use my bone folder and burnish those down. And I'll add some extra strong double-sided tape to the sides here. And we're doing this to both of our B panels, the exact same thing to both panels. We're just going to score that center line, and once that's done, I'm going to grab a pencil. And this part is very crucial to the folding of our purse. I'll take my pencil and a ruler, and from the top of my B flap, I'm going to measure down 2.5 inches. And I'm just going to put a little tiny tick mark at 2.5 inches. So a little tiny tick mark at 2.5 inches on both of my panels. And I'll zoom in close so that you can get a good look at what I'm doing here. You want to make a score mark from that little tiny tick to the bottom corner of this piece. So take your ruler and line up from that little tiny tick to the corner on this little panel, and use your score tool and score from the little tick mark to the corner. And then we're going to do that to the other side, exact same thing, from the pencil mark to the corner and score. And then we're going to crease these pieces. Now, just slowly work it so that it folds up on itself on both sides. And it'll start to go the way you want it to. You'll feel it kind of bend into place. And then we want it to be able to fold right into a 90-degree angle. And then we'll take the bone folder and burnish it down so it's a nice sharp crease. And then this is going to create the folds on our purse so that it can fold up nice and easy and not have any stress on the sides. So we're going to repeat that step one more time. From the 2.5-inch tick mark down to the corner, we're going to take the ruler and line it up and score. And then on the other side of the cardstock, do the exact same thing from the 2.5-inch tick mark down to the corner and score. And then very gently working those folds until we get a nice 90-degree angle, and then burnish down our edges with the bone folder. And then these are ready to adhere. So we'll take the closing flap now. This is the top of the purse. I'm going to burnish all of the creases, and then I'm going to add some strong double-sided tape to the smaller flap. And then I've got a magnet here that has a plus and a minus. And I'm going to remove the adhesive backing off of the plus side of my magnet. It can be the plus or the minus, it doesn't matter, as long as you have one of each. And then I'll use my ruler just to make sure that I get it nice and centered there. And then I'm going to press that into place. And then I'll take the other part of the magnet, in this case it's the negative, and I'm just going to attach it to my positive magnet. So I'll just attach it there, and then we're just going to set that aside for now, and we'll come back to that later. We're going to take panel A, and we'll flip it over, and we'll adhere the top closing flap. Now you'll notice there is a tiny 1/8 of an inch border on both sides of that purse, so you want to center this piece so that you have a little small gap on the edges. And then we'll take the bone folder and burnish down the adhesive there, and then we'll move on to the side flaps. We'll remove the backing off the double-sided tape here, and I just forgot to add some adhesive to these bottom closing flaps, so I'm just going to stick some tape runner on there. And then I'm going to line up those little flaps to the edge of the bottom of my purse. So just take your time here to make sure it gets lined up nice and straight. If you want, you can use the edge of your scoreboard to slip everything in so it's lined up, and then we'll burnish down the adhesive with the bone folder and do that to the other side, and do that to the other B flap and attach that. So just take your time here to make sure it gets lined up nice and straight and burnish with the bone folder. And then we're going to remove the release paper off the sides of the B flap and get that attached to the sides of our purse. So you want to make sure these are nice and straight. And again, take your time, make sure that everything is lined up. And then once you have it in place, and then take your bone folder and adhere the panels together. I forgot to erase the little tick mark, so I'll just take that off now. Do the other side flap B and adhere that to the side of my A flap. And again, making sure you take your time to make sure it's lined up, and then use the bone folder to press everything into place. So here's our purse coming along very well here. Now I'm going to take my handles. I'll remove the release paper off of my handle and adhere that to the center of my top closing flap. No need to measure here. And just burnish the adhesive into the cardstock and do that for both sides, and then kind of crease the edge of the handle around the top flap so that it stands up straight. I fold it back over on itself just to help it create its shape. And then that's it, and we can close this purse up now. So the purse will close up nice and flat, and then you can pop it open. Oh, we forgot to remove the backing off of the magnet. So I'll remove that release paper off of the other magnet, the negative side, and then close up my purse right where I want it to be, and then kind of press on that magnet from the outside, and it will adhere to the inside of the purse. And then I'll just use my fingers to make sure everything's pressed into place very good. And now when we close our purse, it will magnetize shut. Okay, now we're going to take the embroidered flower die cuts that we have and we'll adhere those with some foam tape just for some fun creative dimension. So once that's all adhered, that's it. And our embroidered purse is finished. Here is a close-up look at our embroidered purse. And you can fill it full of stuff or presents or cards or whatever you want. You can also make them ahead and fold them flat and store them for later. Since we've got that sort of V-fold inside of the purse, it can fold up nice and flat. And then we can pop it open and you got yourself a cute little purse. And a Melanie Muenchinger, Gina K Designs, and Gina K Designs embroidered purse. That's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you've enjoyed this video today. Coming up on screen are some videos that I think you may enjoy. I really appreciate you spending your time with me here today. So have yourself a wonderful day and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.